I have to get it off of that switch now to see if it's something within that switch before I can get back with them. That's what they're going to tell me to do. Bypass that switch.
Bypass the aggregator.
Yeah, get it down to some other source.
That should be easy. I just plug in the other one and I'll connect that one. So yeah, it already switched to the other one.
19 was the last.
I flipped it about a minute ago.
20 the last one as of right now. Let's refresh again. Go 20.
So is that signal still not getting up? Oh.
2046.
When things come back healthy, does it also generate an event log? No.
No. It only gives me the negatives. But this seems to be. 20 was the last time I've gotten it so far.
So that even went down even though we had this off of that network?
Yeah, but that could have been me. I tried to log in really quick. I'm wondering if I kicked it when I did that.
No. But from the start of service, we've been running on this, and the line still went down.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have two separate problems.
Yeah. So okay, I'm just trying to think. So what is on that network?
I don't think it's network. I think it's residue.
We're almost in the conclusion that it might be the actually Resi unit itself.
So shall I call them?
Well, we already called them.
Okay.
They gave me one last thing to do was to completely take it off of that switcher or bring it to another room, essentially isolated somewhere else. If the problem follows, then it's the unit.
Oh, we need to call them now because it's working. And at this moment, they're going to be able to check. Oh, but then they're going to say everything is fine.
Everything's fine. Yeah, I was thought about it too. I was like, I just have to see
They
the
won't
read
have
it.
they won't have access to any extra logs on that now. It's
Yeah, because before we had both connections connected, I called them and they said, you're getting 0.09 megabytes up type of thing. It was like, so since you tried everything, you need to get it to a separate unit or separate, switcher somewhere else. I was like, okay. We, in theory, did that because we switched to the aggregator and the switch. So in theory, we are doing it right now. And it seems to be holding.
But the thing is, we did the opposite first service. And it was holding. Right? And then when Resi stopped the stream and restarted it, we got issues.
We got issues.
We now flipped them. It's working again.
It's working again. Don't take 5.
Huh?
Don't take 5.
Okay. Camera 1, camera 2 standby.
It's like,
Okay.
you feel me there?
Yeah,
It's a great shot, but
Yeah.
yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like-
yeah.
Câmera 2 standby. Stay camera 1. Camera 1 still live.
See, that looks better there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it is the
looks
case.
like almost like yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Like that's a better
Reposition
shot
five.
now, Claudio.
Position in 5 was
I'm gonna
better.
do one test. I'm gonna remove.
Trials and tribulations, and it talks about those things being
Yeah,
turned
I
into
agree.
crowns.
So it's not just the like the look.
No.
The
some
shot.
of
The
you
shot was a
may
great
be
shot,
new to
but
this
just the way she looked in
experience.
the shot.
Yeah.
And you might be asking, what does it mean to lay my crowns down?
It's like the whole thing. Sometimes the cowboy, like what is showing at the bottom of the screen type of thing.
Everything
It's like
that you are,
Yeah.
everything that you
so it's a
have,
great shot. Just
Yeah.
gotta look what else is on there.
is because God loves you so much.
Camera 5 standby.
See, it seems like it's stabilized.
Laying your crowns down isn't just
crazy
the
though, 'cause-
shiny things of life.
Camera 1 standby.
It's not
Stuff
just
like
the
resin. We didn't
surrender
restart
of life.
resin.
Yeah.
We didn't do. Okay.
You know, you do a good thing, you get a good thing, so I'm gonna lay it down at Jesus' feet. But sometimes it's like the
Still have-
mess.
But this could be because I'm connected to.
Sometimes it's
the switch.
mess
I know, I
of
know.
I use
life
myself.
No, because I'm connected here Wi-Fi.
Yeah, of course you are.
So if I
that
watch
God
here,
turns it into a crown. And he
See, this seems to be
uses it
fine here.
for our good.
so this could be that this
And
is
he
acting up
uses it
again,
for his glory.
which is not good because that's
And
where
he does
the.
it all so that you can see how much he loves you.
Remember we lost. See if you see the aggregators, the switches again. Remember we got offline.
So as we walk
'Cause now I'm-
into
now
this week
I'm
of
thinking,
Thanksgiving,
Did we lose the video switch
whether
again?
you're going
Get the video
into a
aggregator
family
in.
situation
No,
that's messy,
Camera 5 is standby.
whether you're,
Standby.
I don't know, maybe your budget is tight and you don't even have, you don't even have what you need to make a
Yeah, I have no
Thanksgiving
internet
dinner.
on that switch right now.
This is
This is hardwired in to the switch
I
right
would
there,
just
the
ask,
ubiquity.
would you just lay it down at the feet of Jesus? And it's not always going to look like what we think it should look like.
It's like it gets to a certain
But
point
I
where it
know
overloads.
this because I know it's
and you
true
can't handle it
in
no
my
more.
life.
Studio
When I lay it down, he always shows me who he is.
Still camera 1.
So God, we thank you. We thank you that you work together all things for our good, according to your purpose, for your glory.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's down now.
Gone. I'm gone. The whole switch, I think I lost internet.
God, that when we surrender, even just having a bad
Okay,
attitude,
that I know
but
why. So I did a
praising
test.
you
I removed
instead,
the
Father.
redundant aggregator to switch,
you
and I
change
actually
the
think
atmosphere of the
the
room.
fiber from the switch is bad.
So I
Going
pray
upstairs.
right
Going
now that
upstairs.
some
That's why it
atmospheres
went
in
offline.
some homes would be changed.
Because you
This
removed the
video
redundancy.
People are going to worship you this week, and people are going to be thankful,
so the
God,
vi-
for what you are doing in their life.
Can
I pray
you tell
that
me
you
what
would,
she needs or
you
wants?
would show
Yeah,
up
perfect.
in supernatural ways, Father,
That makes sense.
to meet your people.
So the video studio switch is
It's not
connected
a
to the
magical
aggregator, and
prayer.
it's all single going upstairs.
I have expectation that
It's
you're
not the
going to do
opposite
what
way.
you say you're going to do, not because I'm
Okay.
just wishing
So we're
it,
thinking it
but
might be a
because
fiber
you're a good
connection.
and faithful God.
But it,
God, you meet your
The-
people.
there's a like we're not doing this kind of bandwidth.
You
right? So
meet
it's
your
not,
people right where they're at. And I pray that we would
I
have
did this to see if
testimonies
Resi
of
would
you
behave differently.
showing up and people coming here next week and saying, God did this for me last week.
There's one coming up.
And I promise you will get all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Because you're
upstairs.
good, and you're
Okay.
faithful,
Thank you.
and you are
Camera 1
God.
still live.
We
Yeah,
love
so
you.
that
We
everything came
exalt
back
you
with
in this
time.
house. It's in Jesus'
Yes,
name
I
that
still
we
can
pray.
explain why between
Amen.
one service and the other. It stopped working.
Amen. Well, I'm so glad you came to church.
Because it's back to what it was.
Are you
even though
glad you
it's-
came to church?
So it's not
It's
necessarily.
just the opposite.
Alright.
Oh, it's the opposite
Well,
now.
hey,
So you
would
switch
like to
fibers
see-
essentially.
Would you just turn
No,
to
from
somebody
Resi.
next to you, greet
First
them,
service
give
I
them
had.
Oh, yeah, that's right, sorry. Yeah,
give them
just
a
replugged it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Like, I mean, for me at this point, I think the issue is Resi. Now the question is, if I'm able to get the little,
Okay,
just
so some of the
reset it
problems we're gonna
somehow,
have with the timers.
could we
is
try to
due
then
computers
do
aren't
next
sorted.
week,
So we might have to
go
trigger
through
something
that
from here.
instead of going through Resi?
We'll try it from
Go to
there.
the 8 port? What
Camera 2 standby.
do you mean? Go through what? Go through.
The
Host's good.
Good morning, good morning, good
Camera 2
morning.
Going through like OBS.
Oh, you're talking about the ATM type of thing.
Yeah.
Go through, yeah, bypass the Resi, right to here.
My name is Bo Christopher One. And I have the honor of leading us.
Does Resi generate is the final prod an NDI feed?
In front of you or on the screen is
Say it
a link
again.
you can give
Is the
online
final
and,
program,
you know, this
whatever it
I
is that
know,
we're streaming,
that when we give our
an
time,
NDI
we
stream?
are honoring
No, that's
God in
hardwired,
obedience to His
right
word.
from that location,
When we
right
live
into the
generously
right into the Resi box.
beyond, we're partnering with God to do what He's called us to do.
So if we
and
put
to be
in
part of
a
what He's
encoder
doing
between that,
in us, around us,
we could
in
get
our
the
communities,
HDMI
in
out.
His church. And I
Or we can do a
was thinking
split.
about, yesterday,
Like hit it
we
and then
had the
split HDMI,
opportunity
split
to
SDI.
Yeah.
partner with Olive in July. And
then
we
that
were
we
able
throw
to
in
bless,
OBS
get
and at
this,
least
150
do a
families
parallel test next
with
week,
gift cards to
where we have
Market Basket
Resi streaming
so that
as
they
is,
can have
but we
an
have another
amazing
feed.
Thanksgiving. And we're able to do that because
Right, we
of
do like
your
YouTube
generosity.
through OBS instead
Because
of
you
YouTube
go above and
through
beyond to give
Resi,
and to make sure
just as a
that
test.
you're not just blessed, but you want to see people blessed. And we may not see everybody that was blessed and
Tim's
everybody
live to the
that got
internet.
a gift card, but we know that God's
You
doing
know, so
something
the
in
Trump
their
dance
heart.
just,
Because not only did they get
Don't
a
worry, it's
gift
my
card,
page,
they
so
got
we're good.
a card that let them know that we value
and then on this
you,
day, some
that we
random
love you,
Twitch
that- and
influencer
we
like,
invited
oh, let me
them
just
to come
Google,
and
oh,
be a
look, this
part
site,
of this
and
church,
pops
be a
up.
part
you
of this
become a
church
famous
family,
meme.
and let them know that there's a place for you. And we are
Well, it's been listening to
praying
us
for
the whole
you, and
time,
we are
so.
here for you. So please have an amazing
I got it, I
Thanksgiving,
got
but know that Jesus loves you.
They're probably
and
asking
so does
about the
our people, amen?
translation. I
And
got a
now,
message about it.
looking at Proverbs
I'm
11,
not in
24
it.
and 25, it says, generosity brings
Okay, so today we
prosperity,
learned what
but
the
withholding
NDI stuff
from
would have to be
charity
segregated.
brings poverty. Those who
Yeah.
live to bless
NDI
others
has to
will
get
have
segregated.
blessings heaped upon
Gotta figure out
them,
how to do. We have
and
a.
the one who pours out
Oh, I got a
his
dummy
heart
switch downstairs
to
that I
pour
can
out
use to
blessings
integrate on
will be
here. It's a rack mount one.
saturated with favor. Saturated with favor.
Well, I guess we,
know
yeah,
that as
we can
you
use a dummy switch
honor
for that.
God, as you are willing and
There it goes again.
obedient to be generous, that you will be saturated with favor. That's God's heart for you. That if you will take what you have and you will honor Him with it, He will make sure that you have more than enough. He will make sure that
Alright,
you
this is
are
gonna
blessed
confirm
beyond
that's
anything
I'm
you
gonna
can
now
imagine
flip
or
it
think.
again
Not
and
just
see if
for
it
you.
comes back. 'Cause
That's
then we
the
can call and
amazing
say,
thing about
look,
God, that God
we're
wants to
literally
bless
just
through you.
flipping one and the
He
other.
wants you to be blessed, but He wants those around you to be blessed.
But they're gonna say again, take it out of that. They're gonna say bring it to another
Do what He's
spot.
asked us to do. We can
But where-
know in our hearts and see it.
I mean, there is no other
Saturate us with
Like I have to get like Resi to like the switch over there in the second floor or something like that.
This one goes straight up.
I know, but
It's going directly to
to be
the
given.
I see what you're saying.
Right, so
We commit to be generous.
Phone number. The
so
app's
that
taking
those
them to a
around us
phone
can be
number.
blessed.
Any idea
Whatever
what
you
that'll be?
want
The
us to
app's
do,
taking them to a
whatever
phone
you
Yeah,
number.
Washington State phone number.
Because we're committed to you.
You know when they're trying to use
Did they
that.
change it again?
So Father, thank
That
you.
something.
I ask that you bless all the hands.
I can't work on that right now.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
I'll just tell
I'm just
them, I'll
like
just
no,
tell
no.
them.
Let me see
It's
here.
broke.
What is it? Free conference.
In Jesus' name. Everybody
Camera
said
2
amen.
standby.
Alright, I flipped it.
Come on, make some noise for
Let's see if
Pastor
it comes
Mo.
back.
Yeah, it's joint. Like it lets me do it.
Welcome,
Is it working for you?
everybody. We're so excited.
Yeah,
to
but-
have
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
I'll just tell them what we've got.
On behalf of Stephanie and my family, we just want to wish you a very, very happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're gonna spend time with family. I hope you eat more than you should. You know, I believe in the Daniel process. Everybody likes the Daniel diet, but isn't Daniel also the guy that said we should store up for 7 years? So I think we should eat while we have it right now. Thanksgiving, Christmas, let's stock it all in, and then come January, we will begin our fast and start a new year free and clear. How about that? Yeah. She's like, yeah, turkey, let's go.
So no one's
And if I haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet, my name is Josh Roberts, and I have the privilege of being the lead pastor here at All People.
So are we able to check the fibre? Have we got a
Thank
tool?
you for taking time. Would you make some noise for all those
Like a
watching
tester,
around the
not
world this morning?
fibre tester.
We love you. God bless you.
Sure.
Definitely one
Thank
is
you for
bad.
taking time out of your
Okay.
busy schedule to worship
No
with
doubt
us.
about it.
I want to take just a second before I start they already started my clock, but take this off my time. As you can see, we are at capacity again today. I mentioned this last week. I'm prayerfully requesting, kindly asking, as nice as I can, that if you have the ability
Wait,
to
the
get up
clock's running,
earlier
the clock's
and bring
running,
your family
okay.
to the 9
Let me-
a.m. service, we would greatly appreciate it.
Ahí vienes para
Most of the guests, most of the
Yes.
visitors,
He wants a
all
clock.
people,
He doesn't-
they're going to come to the second service. We want to make sure that we have
You want to
room.
I was like,
All of
time
those,
is
in
up.
just a few weeks, we'll be adding 100 more seats to this auditorium, which I'm stoked about.
Yes,
So
just
excited
about.
about that.
I think we have enough proof.
We're making room for
Right, the
more.
only change that we
Again,
did
25, I'll begin to share with you
was-
about our plans for
Because it's
the
working
future.
again now.
It's working again. And the change that I did is I unplugged one and I replugged the other now.
And that doesn't mean
fibre.
I'm ready
Oh.
to enter a season where we
Resi has
can
two
build
Ethernet
this.
ports.
Two Ethernet ports going into
But if you have the capacity.
The same.
the same switch.
The same switch.
Yeah. So what? And are we just running off one to prove?
Yeah.
Because when both run, it plays up.
So it was bad.
Yeah.
We only let it go into whatever port 2.
Yeah, that makes
It was
sense.
working, then it stopped working. We now unplugged port 2, plugged port back 1 again. It's working again.
Okay. So do we need to find out what the? Would it be helpful for me to find out what the if there's a downside to running one?
We were running just one, and then it stopped working again, which is why we now
Flipped it. But now we're running one on the working one.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
We don't. Yeah. Because I'm just wondering, like, is that something we can to find out if that's something we can live with if they need to
That's
move
what, no. We were fine with living with it.
Okay.
But the fact that between first and second stopped working,
We
flipped it.
And
now the top one is working.
But there was the top one a problem in the first service, you know, or
we don't know, because the first service we had both of them plugged in, right? And so the first thing is go unplug one. I don't know,
Because it
whatever.
could be
Get rid of the entitlement.
port on the device.
We've been
Yeah.
entrusted.
So if
We've
it
been talking
doesn't,
about God's
if it
blessings
doesn't
on
go
our
bad,
And even though you may
the whole
say, I don't
service.
feel blessed,
Yeah.
I want to remind you, you've been blessed.
then we're still only having a
I
single
said it
one,
last week,
but
I'll
we're,
continue to say it. The fact
theoretically,
that
we're
we
now
live
in the
right
working
here
port.
in
Yeah.
the United States of America in this season, in this moment,
Right.
is a blessing to us.
So maybe we can wait for that.
Many of us came from different nations
Because
to
if
pursue
it again
God's plan of blessing,
freezes,
prosperity, and freedom.
it
Right
means
here, so at the least, guess what?
Yeah.
You can say this, but you're in the right place at the right time with the right
But this
people,
time, rather than
doing
running,
the right
but are we still
thing.
running two flipped, or are we running one? Just
We're
only
running
one.
one.
We're just running one.
That we
Yeah.
get to celebrate
But we
this
flipped it.
together.
Yeah, fully.
Whatever it was before,
Yeah.
it's unplugging it.
Yeah.
Have
Good.
been
Okay.
entrusted with purpose, with plans that God created for us to come and impact those around us. It's a responsibility that we should carry highly. We say it this way, we are owners of nothing, but we are stewards of. Owners of nothing, we're stewards of everything, and we realize that everything that we have is a gift and a blessing from God. In week 2, week 1, we talked about John chapter 13, where Jesus was washing the feet of the disciples. And it was one of the final acts or demonstrative acts that he performed with his friends, his posse, his crew. And he did it for the purpose of saying, hey, I'm getting ready to leave, but this is how you're called to lead. Called to lead as a servant. We talked about in week 1 that it's an opportunity to serve others.
Esse
We don't
tempo
have
todo
to
eu tava
serve
waiting,
others,
nobody.
we get to serve
Hold on,
others.
hold on.
Vou ter que
And
esperar.
we consider that a great privilege that God would entrust us with that.
Pastor, what's the time?
When we moved in with week 2, my crazy friend Josh Pennington was here, and he taught an amazing message about.
For some reason, when I thought you said
If
it
you
was
haven't watched
no,
that message, I encourage
after I was trying to get to the time we
Go
was
ahead
working.
or pull it up on our YouTube channel.
give
He
him
talked about some powerful principles, and I want to just remind you of
Não,
one.
que ele abre,
He
você
said
tem
this,
que
he
ver
said
que
mindsets.
ele vai
Determine
nudge
assets.
e open. Então você não.
Mindsets determine assets.
Aqui é 5 minutos.
Now, I want
É
to
10
remind
minutos.
you, you have been entrusted with a great responsibility
Tá
to
warning.
multiply what God has
Does
given
that mean
us,
bad internet?
not just to hold it and hoard it, to return it back to Him at one day. That story of the
34, the
talents,
last one for
the
Silent
story
34.
says that they took from the one and gave it to the guy that produced with the 5
Still running?
because
Is it still okay?
he
Yeah,
multiplied
it's still
it.
fine.
And that man said, I knew you were a hard
Can I
I knew
refresh
you
it?
were a hard man. I hid it, I saved it. I knew you'd get angry if I messed it up. He was telling
this works.
that master about his mindset.
In
And it was a
theory, they're
mindset
all
of
down to
fear,
functional part.
of scarcity, and lack.
It seems to be the top one.
And if I can do anything today, I want to encourage you that you have been empowered and blessed to be a blessing, even if you just seem like it's one talent. One talent from God is an amazing gift that can be multiplied not only to bless our family and take care of them, but to bless those around us. And then last week we switched over talking about gratitude. And I want to remind you, gratitude is more than something you do, it's an attitude that you carry. We said this way, gratitude is an attitude. I talked to you about my kids and how sometimes they mess around and I'll tell them, you got a stinky attitude. And they'll say, I don't have a stinky attitude. And they make a crunchy face. You're like, see, you're doing it right now. Your attitude is coming through in the way you talk, the way that you act, your body language. And I want to remind you again that you've been placed here on purpose to have a joyful and peaceful attitude in some tumultuous times. You are the joy somebody needs to see. You are the passion that somebody needs to receive from. We live that way out of a gratitude and attitude, which leads us to today. I want to talk about generosity. And for us, if you're part of this house or been a part of this house, generosity is nothing new to us. In fact, generosity is one of our core values. The value is just something that is deeply ingrained as a principle in your life. It's something that you hold tight to, and in 2025 we'll talk about this for your family. I believe that you should have some family values. That when someone mentions your family name, it represents something that you live for. It represents your calling, it represents your purpose, and it's something that we should impart to our children at an early age. So not only do they carry on our name of good character, but they represent his name of good character. One of our principles here, one of our core values is generosity. I want to read it to you directly as we've written it on our website, just because I don't want to mess it up, but it says this, it says, we believe that generosity reflects the posture of our hearts. Also aligns us with God's priorities, which is to give and to be a blessing. Rooted in the revelation that God's endless love and blessings have been poured out on us, we aim as a church to share the gospel. What's the gospel? It's the good news. It's the good news. Everybody say good news. And we want to do that right here in our community. We say it this way, we're dedicated to being a beacon of generosity. Not just with our money, but our kindness, our service, our sharing of all that God's blessed us with. We're committed, trusted stewards. And we want to start that right here in North Reading, Wilmington. We pray that that generosity expands to greater Boston, New England. I want you to know that your generosity today is speaking the gospel, preaching the gospel, and displaying the gospel around the world because of your generosity, because you are a generous people. Amen. Father, we thank you for this time together. Holy Spirit, help me to say what you want me to say for this crowd, for these people. Give me boldness to declare your word as you placed it in my heart. Remind me of the stories and scriptures, illustrations for this moment. Lord, we come with open hearts and open ears to receive what you want to say to us as individuals, as moms, as dads, as parents, as kids, as teenagers, as grandparents.
Just to make sure we help you,
Speak to us individually today through your word. We'll be doers of it, not just hearers only. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm glad you came today. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16, they'll put it on the screen. It says, do not forget to do good and to share with others. For with such sacrifices, God is pleased. Living a generous life isn't an act, but an attitude. There it is again. Everybody say attitude. Living a generous life is an attitude of care, of value, and love for others. When you meet somebody who's generous, you feel cared for. You feel seen, you feel heard, you feel loved, you feel valued. And just on the opposite, when you're around stingy people, you feel unvalued, unloved, you feel like it's all about them. You and I have the opportunity to choose an attitude of, I'm going to be a blessing everywhere I go. I'm going to bring light, health, hope, and healing to anybody that I interact, and I'm going to give it away freely. That's who Christ was. There's a well-known story of a young girl named Hattie Mae Wyatt. She grew up in the 1800s, and she lived near a small church in Philadelphia that was overcrowded during Sunday school. And on one particular Sunday, she wanted to go to Sunday school only to be turned away at the door. They said there wasn't enough room. She went home dejected and rejected, but deeply upset, she told the pastor later that she hoped one day that the church would have enough space to reach all the kids. Moved by her passion, the pastor encouraged her, well, you should pray about that. You should trust God for a solution. Little Hattie Mae took his words to heart. But tragically, just a short time after, the young age of 6, Hattie passed away. It was at the funeral that her parents gave the pastor a little leather purse that was worn out. They found it among some of her other belongings, and inside that purse was 57 cents and a note that read, "This is to help build the bigger church so more kids can come to Sunday school." Deeply touched, the pastor shared that story with his congregation.
We're still having issues, or is
No.
it back and forth?
It's
An
been pretty
inspiration
rock
began to
solid.
trickle through, and
Since he did what?
sacrificial
Since he
generosity began to
unplugged
explode. The church
second
members
cable, I
began to raise funds
Maybe that's what
simply
he just
to fulfill
explained it to me.
Hattie's dream.
So we, you know, there's two network
57
cables
cents
out the back of the
Was a
Rizzy.
catalyst for
One was going to the video.
extraordinary generosity.
I don't just want to
Within a few
blame
years, not only did that
um,
church build a
the Rizzy
larger kids
hardware or
wing
the
where
Rizzy
more
unit
kids
just
could
yet,
come,
because the second
the story
cable that we
didn't end
unplugged
there.
was going to the video
that
hub
radical
switch.
generosity
And
of
then the other one to the
57
aggregator.
Always good, the
cents from that
aggregator. So at the
5-year-old
moment we're running
girl
off one.
not only helped
it's
inspire
that-
people to give to the local
That
church,
hasn't
it
been.
went outside of the church
I don't know
walls
what
and
else checks we can
began
do. That hasn't been
to
spinning.
fund
I've just
a
checked
brand new
YouTube.
university called
YouTube's
Temple University that
still,
is
you know, got
still
past
in
the preaching.
Philadelphia
So
today.
I
And not only did that campus begin to
so
be built, that overflowed into
that
more
proves
radical generosity to where they planted
port on the Rizzy
the Good
switch,
Samaritan Hospital,
network cable,
still
something to
a
do with
part
the
of
video
Temple
hub
University today.
switch.
I say all that to you today because one small act of generosity can be and should be multiplied just like this
so-
into a legacy that touches countless lives. That's our goal.
So right
that's
now we're
our
connected which way?
The story of Hattie Mae teaches
through
us
aggregator.
that
Through
no
aggregator,
gift when
straight
offered
upstairs.
with the right heart is too small.
So
But
the
we
first
switched to the
service-
first service. We were on
When
switch.
offered with love and
on
faith,
switch.
God can multiply it.
Is
It's
there
a
anything
reminder
else
that
going wrong on that
Not
video
about
hub
the
switch
amount, it's about
that we're now not plugged
the
into?
heart.
Have we seen any?
For the next few minutes, I want to just talk about a couple of key points and things that I've learned about generosity.
And I think it
the
wasn't
first one's very
anything to do
simple.
with the
Generosity
UDM being overloaded.
exposes your heart.
As we checked there, it wasn't really overloaded.
Generosity exposes the posture
We
of
saw
your
it wasn't
heart.
internet because you're
Whether you
streaming
have a
and
hard
it's
heart or
excellent.
whether you
On
got
Wi-Fi, I'm
health.
fine.
Whether you're an optimist or a pessimist, it all comes out in your
Now we would lose
generosity
internet to
or
this
lack
one.
thereot.
Since
When
I
you're
left,
around
like,
generosity,
No,
when
since
you
not happy
see
since you
generosity,
left.
No,
Okay,
no,
so
no.
right now we're on aggregator.
True?
But I was just saying, like in general, this computer lost internet.
But that's when I did the-
The
When
fiber.
I thought that I was doing the removing the redundancy,
Gotcha.
and actually it's not doing
Redundancy. It's actually a send up there.
Still wanna
So
do it.
video aggregator and switch are separate sends all the way upstairs. Is what we're saying?
No. Video switch, the fiber up is bad. I didn't bypass it, I did video switch to aggregator through fiber. And everything. that
Local
goes-
fiber.
Local fiber.
Okay, so we're hitting the aggregator, then we're fibering over to the switch.
The other way around.
Okay, hitting the switch at fibering up to the
Yeah.
locally.
I don't know about you, but I used to go to church.
And so everything is
and
going
nobody greeted me.
upstairs
And I
through
didn't
the
want to be there
aggregator.
to begin with. And then when I walked in, people had an attitude. What's this tattooed punk doing here? And I'm like, I'm
So,
here to meet Jesus. And
internet's
they
coming
kinda
down
show
to the
you.
switch.
I'll say this,
No,
being
aggregator.
generous isn't
Okay,
just
coming
about
down to the
money, it's
aggregator.
about the
I
attitude
fibered
that you
down
look at life
to the
and
switch
how it's
The
locally.
switch is on top, but yeah.
everywhere you
Okay.
go. I love coming to
That's-
church.
that's why you
Switch
have
is on top?
There's always
Switch is on
people
top,
here
aggregator
beating
is
us.
on
You're right, it is.
Beating
Okay.
us, being
That's why I'm
So it
confusing
goes
myself.
aggregator
It's just
up to
one
switch.
way
It goes
to
aggregate.
get
That's why I'm getting
hospital.
confused because this is aggregator, then it goes up to the switch. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then switch is that's where it stops at.
Generosity's more
Yeah,
than
because
your
the
money,
fiber
it's about
switch up is bad.
Is bad.
heart.
That's why I only see one connection upstairs
Yeah.
connected. The other one's not connected.
Isaiah 1:9 says, 119 says.
Can I just draw this out? So I
It's not
think
connected.
not connected.
It's not connected.
If you you're willing,
that it could be
have a
working. We don't even
willing
know. It's
heart,
just not
and
connected.
you're obedient to do what
But
I told
you
you to do,
removed that connection.
this
No,
is, like
I
she
just remember
said,
seeing that it's not there.
you will eat the good of the land.
So I would see
I'm
two,
gonna be
two, and then
honest
one.
with you. It's really not that hard to enjoy
Well,
life.
it's not, you gotta go upstairs.
Be
Yeah.
willing
Can I come
to
with you?
submit to God's plan,
So let me take my laptop.
and then be obedient to do what He tells you to do, and guess what? You'll have more joy than you've
It
ever
doesn't matter
had.
anymore.
When
Doesn't
you
even
realize
matter.
that it's not your plan and you don't have to figure it out, that God designed you, that you're His masterpiece, intricately created to fit within His body, that should bring joy, which brings a willingness of, wait a second, I get to be a part of this? And as I'm obedient, guess what? The blessings of God are poured out on my life and yours. The willing and the obedient eat the good of the land. Here's what I know about willingness. It's simply, again, a indication of where your heart is. When you're willing to serve God, it's so much easier. I don't know about you, but there were seasons where I wasn't willing to follow God. I didn't want to, and life seemed hard. And there became a moment in a worship service similar to what we just experienced, where my heart was softened because I realized, man, I don't have anything to offer Him except some apologies. And in that moment, the grace of God came on my life, and that shame was removed. Willingness and obedience go hand in hand with the posture of a generous heart. Obedience is simply following through and doing what God's asked us to do. I was talking to my son recently. I asked him to do something, and he said he did it, but he didn't do it. And I had to approach Hunter and say, hey, the daddy asked you to do X, Y, and Z. Did you do it? And he said, yes, sir. And took off running. I said, the way he said that doesn't make me feel like he did it. I said, come back in here for a second. And he said, yes, sir, what do you need? I'm busy. I got stuff to do. I got place to go, people to meet. He's like, I'm like, slow down, you're 10. You ain't got nothing to do but listen to Dad right now. Did you do what I asked you to do? Well, kinda. What do you mean, kinda? Did you brush your teeth or not? It's not rocket science. It's a yes or no. Yes. Okay, well, now I can tell your son is going. Let me ask you this question. Did you use toothpaste? Well, not really. So you went upstairs and brushed your teeth like this with a dry toothbrush? Yes, sir. Is that how we brush our teeth in this house? No, sir. Get back upstairs and brush your teeth before I knock them out. And you know what he said? I don't want to brush my teeth. I don't like brushing my teeth. And I said, you don't like it now, but you're going to love it later when you have all your
in
teeth.
Africa, if you tell your parent like that,
He said,
You have told him.
I'll do it, but I'm telling you, I don't
My
want
mom
to.
had my son say what, and she almost
yeah, like you
I'm
say
unwilling,
to your parent.
but I'll be obedient.
Brazil, same
What
thing.
was it? It was a
Oh,
pop-
same?
It's like the kid in Sunday school who's
said-
upstairs and they're
he's
worshiping and
screaming,
he's sitting down. The teacher says, hey, can you stand up? We're all worshiping God together. We all stand up. He said, I don't like standing up. I don't like the worship.
Give a
And
good
he said,
hand.
I understand that, but when this class we
How
all
do you even
stand and
think
we all
about doing
worship
that?
God together. And he
You
said, I'll
cannot.
stand up on the outside, but you should know I'll sit down on the
you
inside.
cannot. I'm scared when to say what.
Yep. Yep.
What is that?
But
That's the
imagine,
exposure of his heart.
At this age,
And
when
yet
I
there's
go
a lot of
home,
people that are laughing, but that's
and
how
I
we
go
view what
late,
God's asked
I
us
have
to
to
do.
tell them, hey,
I'll
I'm
do it,
coming
but I
late.
don't want
Because it's
to.
like,
Yeah.
because back then you,
I want you to
there's
love
a
your
time
husband
where
and
you
honor
have to be
him.
home.
He's a real jerk, you
Listen
know.
to my kids, my boss.
I know, but I want you to be willing to love him anyways.
Hey, I'm gonna
You
do
know, I find the greatest blessing
Yeah.
in my life is when I do what I
yeah,
don't
they
want
would
to
say
do, but
the
I
same
change
thing.
my heart.
Once you
and
go
say,
out
I
of
want to
here,
do it
do
because
whatever
you
you
asked me
want.
to.
But once you're here,
And I
there's no
want to do
option
it.
like,
Thank you for
I don't feel
asking
like going
me
to
to
church.
do
You
that.
have to go.
Yeah.
There's
And
no
in those
choice.
seasons is usually when I find myself not only more peaceful and
and they
joyful,
learn that,
but
that when
blessing
you get
flows from
old,
there.
like,
Generosity
see
is
the
a
meaning
like
of
trying to say,
posture of the heart.
but then they
The second thing that I know about generosity is it not only exposes my heart, it tells those around me how big my God is.
Camera on your line.
It's an indication of my view or understanding of how big or little my God is. See, it's easy to say that God's a giver. We all believe that God's good. He gives good gifts. But if we're not generous ourselves, what kind of reflection of Him is that? I like what Jack Hayford said. He said, learning to be generous is it's rooted in clarifying who we perceive as our ultimate
man.
source in life.
No way.
You
Can't miss you.
or God.
No way. And sometimes he
We're
my
generous.
wife says, but it's
We're
not
telling
God."
those around
Yeah,
us
like,
that it's God who has
No,
supplied
'cause
us,
if you
not
do, they
ourselves.
kinda, you know what I mean? Yeah.
When we're generous and people see them like, man,
I
why
feel
would
like
you do that
I
for
told
me?
you.
I've had people give me stuff and I'll say, why are you
It's
doing
like
this
you-
for me?
You know, I said,
And they said, because I can. And I want to, and the Lord told me to. So wild, I was preaching about a blower. Remember my story about the blower 2 weeks ago?
We got hustle a little bit.
How many of you were here and you heard me talking about our Moe's blower? And I was just telling a story that wasn't even in my notes. And then Sunday night, Mo texted me late at night and he said, hey, if you need a new blower, would you want a gas blower or an
I'm
electric
seeing
blower?
that.
I said, who's asking? What are you talking about? I borrow your blower. I don't need a blower.
I can't complain, they're good, but they're good.
And he said,
boys
someone wants to
because
buy
we
you a blower.
You
do our
did.
part.
And I said, someone wants to buy me a blower.
I think the way they
And I
raise
said,
kids here, it's
what? He said, I said, why would somebody buy me a blower? He said, because the Lord told him to. Do you want gas or
a lot of work
electric?
for us to do it, but they don't want a lot of work.
Yeah.
I said, I like
Okay, you wanna
gasoline.
eat? You don't wanna eat? No, you
There's
don't.
more power. I like the juice, you know. And I came in Monday morning, and Mo said, "Can you come with me?" And he took me to the shop, and guess what? There's this industrial backpack blower there. I was like, I pulled the trigger, and it like set me back. It's got so much torque on it. And he wouldn't tell me who it was. So whoever you are, I just want to say thank you for blessing me. And I asked Mo. I said, why would they do that? And the person, whoever you are, your response that I heard was, because I can and because the Lord told me to. You know what I know about that guy? His business is going to explode because he's not trying to keep it to himself. So whoever you are, I want to just say to you, your heart and your posture, even towards me in the simplest act, man, that says so much about who you think God is. When we give in 2024, where everybody else is trying to take, it sets us apart. I was telling you about this a while back, but when we go to restaurants and we tip those that are serving us, your generosity gives them a picture into your belief of God. We were at the Mexican restaurant over here in another town not far away, and it was a Friday night, and they had a guitar player. I don't know what you call that guy. Yeah, but it was a single dude, just one guy, hat, full boat, and my kids loved it. Like they were chasing him around the restaurant. And he was walking up to couples that are having like date night, serenading them, and we were kind of tucked in the back, and my kids kept saying, he's not going to play for us, he's not going to play for us. And he finally made his way to the back booth where we are, and he played, and my little girl got up, and she was spinning around in her dress, and I'm just having a ball watching him, and the boys are acting foolish, you know, dancing around, and of course this gentleman just loving it. He's got a little crowd now, and I reached into my wallet, and I pulled out a $50 bill, and I handed him a $50 bill and slipped it to him, and he stopped playing. He was like, dang. Actually, that wasn't the word he used. I'm just going to say it. That's the church appropriate word. And he's like, why would you do that? And I said, why would I do what? He said, that's ridiculous. You know, that's wow. Like he caught off guard. I said, I just want you to know, man, that I appreciate you entertaining my kids, and I want you to know that God loves you. And then he started speaking in Spanish, Dios le bendiga, all this stuff, you know. I don't know what he was saying. He was going on and on. And I remember when I got in the car, and my son Hunter said, that's a true story. I got in the car, and Hunter said, how much money did you give that guy? I said, why'd you give him money? I said, I gave him money because that's what he's doing. He's here playing music, and he's hoping to get paid. And he said, well, how much did you give him? And I said, no, it's none of your business how much I gave him. And then my wife said, how much did you give that guy? And I said, I gave him $50, and the whole car went, you gave him what? And I said, guys, we don't do that all the time, but I said there are times where we just need to be radically generous, just to let people, we're not like these other people. What am I hoping that they see in me? Something different, and then they say, why would you do that? And I get to respond, because God's been so generous with me. God's poured out his grace and blessing on me. I'm not trying to piecemeal and just tip somebody. Man, when I tip somebody, I want them to know, wait a second, there's something different about that family, and I'm praying. My prayer is that they would ask me why.
Stand by, camera one.
Your
Camera one, right?
generosity speaks of the God you serve and how big He is. Philippians chapter 4 says, you can be sure that God will take care of everything you need.
Stand
When
by,
I say
camera one.
everything,
Yeah,
everything,
it's
His
here.
generosity
Okay, thank you.
even
No, I just wanna make
exceeds
sure I haven't
yours
lost
and the
them here.
glory
No,
that
it's
pours
here.
from Jesus. And this is the way I want to say this. This is the Josh Roberts translation. God's so big that you don't have to be worried about giving it all away. He can replenish your storehouse in a moment.
Stand by, camera two.
Well, if I give that away, what are we going to have? I don't know. But if He tells me to do it, I'm going to be willing and obedient. And here's what I know about my willingness and my obedience. I've given glory to Him and displayed that He's bigger than everything and anybody else. And guess what? Right around the corner, my storehouse gets full again. Oh, you're one of those give to get people. No, it has nothing to do with give to get. It's giving out of a heart, but here's the thing. It's a law. When you give, it comes back. I can't turn that off. It's not why we're giving, but if you understand the laws of how God works, is He's looking for someone to sow a seed so He can bring a harvest. And yet some of us are believing for harvest, and yet we're holding on to all of our seed as tight as we can, saying, come on, give me a harvest, open up the windows of heaven. And all He's saying is, will you release what you've already been given? Here's what I know. Every time I release what He's given to me, and I release it to those around me, it leaves me with open hands. Which means they can now be filled again. Some of us are frustrated with God. Why aren't you doing this and that? And He said, because I gave you resources and you haven't done what I asked you to do with them in the last season. I don't want to stand before God and Him say, there was so much more for you, but you were so uptight and stingy. Josh, I was so much bigger than that. And wanted to display that not only for you, but to those around you. But you limited me. He will supply all of our needs according to His riches and glory through Christ Jesus. Here's the last point I want to make today, is that not only does generosity expose our heart, and not only does it show those around us how big our God is, gives us the opportunity to change our story. And it gives us the opportunity to change the story of those that we encounter. In 2010, I've shared this story many, many times, but I was in a funky spot. You ever been in a funky spot? Nobody?
Camera two,
You're
right?
going to help me today? I feel like I'm the soul of God. You ever been in a place where you're like, I don't want to be here anymore? Like in life, or you've been in that place where you're like, I should be further along than I am? Or maybe you've been in a place where you feel like you're doing everything you know to do, but yet nothing's working, and yet it seems like all hell is still arrayed against you. That was my life in 2010, and I was in a depression, a terrible funk. I had nothing. I lost my job, and with that job, lost a lot of friends.
It just sounded like
And a lot of relationships that I had counted on.
it sounded like those.
And in just a few days' time, all of it was gone, and I found myself
Maybe you see from here.
frustrated.
When you.
At that time, I was just dating my wife now, my wife Stephanie, and we were living in a different city. We had moved to the beach and talking about getting married, but I was freaking out over getting married because my parents had got divorced. My brother had gotten divorced. Both of my best friends had gotten divorced. And if I'm just being transparent, I didn't want to get married because I didn't want to go through that. And the Lord led us on a Sunday to go visit a church much like this. And we weren't attending that church. We drove up from the beach and we sat down in that church. And while I was there, I just felt like this is our home. And the Lord said, that's your pastor. And pointed out the guy that was there. And so at the door on the way out, I greeted him. I said, hey, my name's Josh. And I said, this is my girlfriend Stephanie. I said, we like today. And he said, man, you should come back. I said, I'll be back next week. And he said, man, let's get together. He said, I know who you are. I said, do you know who I am? He said, oh yeah, I know who you are. You used to pastor at that other church over there. I said, yes, sir, I did. He said, I'm sorry about what happened over there. And I stopped and I was like, he knows what's going on in my life. I've never met him before. And he said, you want to play golf this week? And I said, is the Pope Catholic? He said, tea time Thursday morning, 8 a.m., don't be late. And I went to play golf, and I didn't have the money to pay for golf, and I walked into the pro shop, and he'd already paid for everything, and he's like, hey, here's your coffee, hand me a coffee, and I'm like, what's going on? Who are you? And we played golf for 4.5 hours, had a great time, just asking me about me and my life and my story, and he didn't get pastoral with me. In fact, he said, stop calling me Pastor Gary, just call me Gary. I'm playing golf, I'm not pastoring today. And I love that. Because every other pastor I'd worked with said, and my name's Pastor so-and-so. They wanted the title first. It was like he had taken that off and just wanted to be a guy. And we played golf, and I felt like I could be comfortable with him. And we got done playing golf. He said, man, I really enjoyed my time with you. You need some help with your golf swing. But I would get there, and he said, you want to have coffee later next week? I said, yes, sir. And I went and met him for coffee, and he began to ask me about my life and where I'm going and what God's called me to do. And I began just to pour out and to say, I'm not in a good spot, and I need your help. And he said, I'm here for you. Whatever I can do, I want to help you. That's what I needed to hear. It was a little while later that Stephanie and I began to go through counseling with him and his wife, just to reset some things in our hearts and in our minds where we had been hurt and abused.
Stand by camera 2.
And that next year, they invited my wife to move in with them. She was in a different housing situation. They said, would you move in with us? We just want to spend some time with you. And for a year, she moved in and lived with them free of rent. And they just loved on my wife now, my girlfriend at the time. And 1 year later, they married us under a tree in San Diego in our friend's backyard. It was another year after that I just stayed in the church. I didn't preach. I didn't teach. I didn't do nothing. I just came and sat and allowed the water of the washing of the Word to cleanse me and just to help me wash through some of the junk and stuff that I had been involved with and caught up in. And it was 2 years later that we knew God was calling us to leave. I had visited here, and it was 1 year later we moved from California, took a short time in Alabama, and then landed in Boston, Massachusetts, and now we're pastoring this amazing church. I was at my lowest, and someone said, I want to hang out with you. I hear you, I see you, I value you. Whatever I have, whatever you need, it's yours. That was a healing time for me and a reset on how I would lead in the future. I didn't know it then. But I look back now and I realize that Pastor Gary and Ann Martin's generosity changed the trajectory of my story. And truthfully, it's changed your story. If this is your home and this is your house, and you consider me your pastor, I want to say this to you. A small act of generosity of playing golf and having a cup of coffee turned into a lifelong relationship with these amazing people who propped us up and helped get us out of the junk and into God's plan again, and have a fresh perspective to say that it's not over, there's still more. And today, as a result of that, we all get to do life together. Hattie Mae's story is very similar. 57 cents and a dream that they could expand the kids' wing turned into a university and a hospital, and how many thousands of graduates have now received a world-class education, and how many thousands of patients have received health care because of one little girl's act of generosity. I say all that to say you and I have the opportunity to change the course of history 57 cents at a time. Every one of us has the capacity to be generous in some capacity. 2 weeks on December 8th, we're going to have our year-end giving offering. If you're new here and this is totally different from you, it's all good. I want to invite you to be a part of it. We are going to unleash radical generosity on December 8th together. Every one of us, when you leave today, you're going to get an envelope that says, trusted, not entitled, and inside there's a card. And all I'm asking is that you would bring your best. There's 4 little things you can click off on here. And this is my request to you as you come on December 8th. Number 1, some of you, I just asked, would you commit to pray for our church and your pastors? Be generous with your prayers. I'm requesting that. Some of you, I'm asking you to continue tithing I'll put a caveat right here for a moment is, you can't be generous if you're not a tither. And that's not a knock, and I'm not looking down at you, but I just need to inform you that you can't be generous with something that doesn't belong to you. The Bible makes it very clear. It says that it's God that gives us the ability to get increase and make money. He calls it wealth. I love that word. It's Him that gave us the ability. Oh, I went to college and I got the job. Yeah, but He gave you the brains. And He gave you the brain. He gave you the breath in your lungs. He gave you the family that you were placed in that allowed you and helped you to get there. Everything you have, by the way, goes back to Him being the source. And so the Bible instructs us that the wealth that we earn because of Him, we honor Him back. It's simple, 10%.
That one's good.
Now I want you to know this. You're not giving it to a church. Give my money to that church. Save it then. Your heart's wrong. You're not giving to a church. You're giving through a church. I'll give you a preview of where we're going to go in 2 weeks, but this last week I had a board meeting with our executive board, and we talked about the future, where we're going, and they want an update on finances and resources, and I love it because we're going to end this year under budget again for the second year in a row. We're stewarding your resources well. At the same time, not only do we come under budget again, as of right now, as of last night, we've given over $416,000 away outside of this house because of your stewardship. I said all that to say, generosity comes after we've honored and reminded and stewarded what He's given us. I would ask you, maybe you're not a tither, maybe you haven't gone there yet in your step of trust and obedience with Him. 2025, I would ask you to make that commitment. Not for me, for you. There's a blessing that comes on those that tithe. And the last one is, I'm bringing my best gift, my offering above my tithe. Someone asked me recently, what is the offering going for? Last year when we gave, we made it very clear that we're giving to renovate and make room for more. You're sitting in an auditorium that is just almost 9 months old. We paid cash for all the renovations in here. Almost $500,000 of your money went into restoring this in the first floor lobby. Over the Christmas break, you'll come back and you're going to see up at All Kids, put all new flooring in the foyer up there. All the classrooms in the first quarter are getting new makeovers. Whole new kids space going in. All Kids is going to be blown up. You gave to that last year generously. And this year we're going to give to make sure that the gospel goes out of this house at a greater capacity. Many of you drive. The average person, by the way, drives 35 minutes to come here on Sundays. The average, 35. We draw from 5 states. And I remember somebody bragging to me about it. 5 states. That's impressive. I didn't do it. I inherited it. It's amazing. And then this person that I was sharing that with kind of chastised me, and they said, that ought not be. Why should they all have to drive to you? Why can't you go to them? And I said, we want to. We're out of room. I don't want to add more services. I will if we have to. It's time for us to expand what we're doing. Your seed in 2025, at the end of this year, in 2025, will go to expanding us to take the gospel to other communities that you already drive here from. Please don't come up to me after the service and ask where we're going. I can't tell you. Or how we're going to do it. I can't go there yet. But I'm asking you to trust me and know this, that every dollar given is going straight to make sure the gospel reaches those that need to hear it right here in our region. So simple. Oh, I don't like that guy. He's asking for our money. I'm not asking for any money. Here's my ask. Would you talk to the boss? Some of you look at your spouse. That's what I call my wife. I'm like, I'm not talking to the boss. I'm not talking about your spouse. I'm talking about the king. Ask him what you should do. And then just do it. Steph and I have purpose in our heart. We're going to make this a stretch for us. We're going to sow the largest seed we've ever sown simply because I believe believe in what God's called us to do. And yes, at the end of the day, they'll be like, man, what are we gonna do now? I don't even need to worry about that. As I give freely, He's gonna bring it back.
It's amazing.
That's His promise to us. Would you talk to Him? Ask Him what He'd have you to do. Bow your heads. Close your eyes with me, Father. We thank you for your word.
Why should they all have to drive to you? Why
Thank you
can't
for
you go to
speaking to
them?
us. I thank you for these generous people you've gathered together and called us together.
We're out of room. I don't want to add more services.
Thank you for allowing us to partner our time, talent, and treasure
It's time for us to expand what
with
we're
your
doing.
vision for New England.
Your seed in 2025, at the end of this year,
We
in
receive it.
2025 will go to expanding
And
us
just throw it back
to take
out.
the gospel to other communities that you
Before I go, I
already
can't
drive from.
talk about generosity without talking about Jesus. Jesus is the greatest gift to
Please
humanity.
don't come up to me after the service and ask where we're going. I can't tell you.
God's gift of His Son to you and I to come and live on this earth
I can't go there yet.
is the greatest act of generosity that mankind has ever seen or ever will see.
That every dollar given is going
For
to make sure
33
the
years, He
gospel reaches
walked
those
on
that
this
need to
earth
hear
and
it.
gave us a master class of what it means to lead with humility and to love people.
Well, I don't like that guy. He's asking
To
for
the
money.
point
I'm
that He
not
laid
asking
down
for
His
any money.
life.
Here's my ask. Would you talk to the boss?
At one
All
point,
right, let me turn this off. Thanks.
He made a decision to say, they can't take my life.
I gotta talk to the boss. I'm not talking about your
I
spouse.
give it freely.
All right, so as is,
And through torture
It's
and
been saying
humiliation,
solid.
He did just that. He hung on a
which
cross,
means it could have been the Resi
was beat
port.
with a whip, and His blood was
Just that
poured
one
out, and
resi
He gave
port
His
is what I'm
life.
saying. So if we just keep it on one, essentially it should
The
work.
entire human race has committed.
That would solve Resi. We still continue everything as we mentioned for this week.
Things were reset.
Segregate everything from that is NDI related, going only through AV,
Without having to make a sacrifice. Jesus
putting the
became-
APs back to the Switch One.
And He became the head priest of the church.
So now the neck gear is just for NDI and lighting and stuff.
His generous act
And
is
down
available for each and every one of us. And all He's asking you to
Yes.
do is
And all internet's going through,
nothing weird,
Wi-Fi
nothing
if we need for those
spooky.
computers.
yeah.
Just a heart and a
So how to
life
get
aligned
one,
with His words and
2
His
computers.
We receive it.
If you're here
These
today,
two
you say, "Man, I need
computers-
Jesus in my life.
I gotta get them
I
on
need
the
forgiveness of my
created
sins, but
network.
more than that, I need purpose. I don't have it.
They would be
I need
part of
clarity.
the
Neck gear.
AV,
I
the
need to know why
yes,
I'm
right?
here. All of that.
I just gotta get a dummy switch in line that I can get it down.
You don't need a
Everything
dummy,
begins
I mean,
to make
okay.
sense.
It's just to
You
get these
either
two
have to go
connected.
straight, yeah.
Yeah. So since I only have one connection going down, I'm gonna put a dummy switch as a splitter.
Yeah, yeah.
And get them in line.
So many hands, all over the
And
place.
as long as we're not transmitting video from up here, that should work fine. We might start having issues if we now start transmitting NDI from here, because that switch just might not
Right here, yes, ma'am.
be hefty
Made a
enough.
decision to say they can't take my life.
Well, we do transmit NDI downstairs from here.
All the way in the back, I see.
We're doing that right now through the
But
dummy
you're
switch.
doing one video. I'm just saying, depending on how much we send.
We're doing 2.
Well, I'm just saying, what we could see in the future is that switch just not be enough.
The AV switch is what you're saying?
No, the dummy switch that goes
Ah,
here
gotcha,
to
gotcha,
AV.
gotcha, gotcha. I mean, it's a gig switch, so it should be.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was one that $7 one.
No, not that. It's a G-Link or something like that.
Okay.
But it's a gig one.
Okay, then that's.
Yeah, and this one right here is another gig one. That does PoE too, but it's only like 60 watt. I don't trust the power all the APs. We'll put it on the
Can we do this? Can we celebrate with them?
Okay. Well, see, I think we're in the same spot as
It may
last
seem
week.
like a
on it.
sacrifice to leave behind what
I
you
don't have
know
any
about
confidence
God.
that it's not gonna work. And I don't have any confidence that it will work, so.
Like I'm almost willing to take the Resi unit and bring it to the UDM. Leave it connected directly to the UDM. I'll bring a video feed up there. That'll give me the fastest speeds I can get.
That He is your
It's
son.
coming right from the UDM.
And that you sent Him.
Put it in that rack and everything.
Well, today,
You know what I mean? Put it in the rack and everything. I'll send a video
turn
feed
from
in.
my way of living.
Yeah, but that's fine.
I turn from my sin.
I'm just saying that we still get the same problem.
I accept
Yeah, that's what I'm
forgiveness.
saying. And then it bypasses all that. Like, but we definitely know it's Resi for sure, like 100%.
I declare Jesus
You know what I mean?
I like that.
Lord over my life.
And This way,
Like said.
I don't have all these hops I'm
Amen.
making.
One more time, would you make some noise for all those in
Right
praise
to the
and
internet.
prayer?
Only point at that point is the UDM, but the UDM doesn't seem to be the problem.
Go ahead and stand with me. Thank you, Pastor.
I bypass fibers. If there's any fiber issues, I'm getting direct.
That will be up front, ready to pray, because they know how to pray.
I mean,
So if you pray for anything,
that also works.
confuse them.
Yeah.
But also, if you
I think I'm gonna make it
gave
happen.
them, like you said that prayer for the very first time.
Yeah, so I'll have to go to the second to go up to the fourth.
What I want you to do
The closet, 'cause that goes up to the fourth floor. I think that the fiber goes to the second, then goes up.
But also to help you with your next steps. We have a booklet that we want to give you. If you would come
The fiber
Resi
run?
would be upstairs.
Yeah, yes, but I think the fiber runs. It runs to that. It runs from here to that room and then goes up. I think that's how they go up to the fourth floor. Is through that pipe or whatever it is going under that way. So that'll be my path to throw my extra cable, my video cable up.
The thing is, it's a normal video cable, right?
Yeah, it's an SDI cable.
So how many feet can this thing go?
300 feet. Yeah.
Next week,
So I think that's plenty.
there's
I'll
still
be less than
room.
that.
We'll figure it out. But if you want.
Alright, so
to
keep
be
me
water
posted.
baptized next
Yeah.
time,
Thursday
you
we can
go
do
to
another
the
test again.
info desk, you go on our
Thursday we don't have
website,
rehearsal
use
'cause,
the
you know,
church center
it's
app,
Thanksgiving.
Register and we will get in touch with you.
If we don't have a test unless I come in and create a
Next
test.
week, but next week
So I'll let you know how that week
all
looks because I'll have to make some
We've got
calls.
invite,
Talk to the boss, you know.
Reservice
Huh?
December 22nd.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm more worried about.
Yeah, that's easy.
Are we gonna do the
OBS?
OBS parallel to YouTube?
Might as well. So I need a way of getting into a computer to be able to send that. If that makes sense. I need to get a. I
I'll
actually think
try
I
to
know.
flash and just
See if that 810 will
back
work.
to work.
And with that, we hope you guys.
If I get it back to work, at least we don't need a computer. We just use that.
Yeah.
Plus rec.
Yep.
All of our
I'll get that. I'll get that answered.
If it doesn't work, let me know. I'll buy one and see if I can get it in. Those are not that expensive.
No, I just need. It's definitely like it was something went wrong. I just like okay, since we didn't need it, I'll just let go.
Yeah. But let me know. Yeah, we weren't using it, so that's not a problem. But yeah, and if anything, I can get a little Blackmagic monitor, which basically brings an input into the computer,
Okay.
and it'll go straight to USB. And I'll buy one. They're not that expensive, so it's good to have it anyways. We need to be able to have a backup.
If you're gonna do that run, can you then rerun fiber?
I have to get fiber.
I
don't
think we
have
have that. I think we have Boston fiber.
Oh, do we? Then I gotta look around then.
I don't know. I could be.
I do have
I
fiber
feel
that I
like we
brought
have
in
fiber.
from the AV stuff, and I know I have enough. The thing is, those ends need to be terminated. It's a special machine.
Yeah.
But I do know I have fiber. It just they don't have no ends. They're not.
All right. So see you next week.
Not mine.
But you won't be here, right?
It'll be you and
I'll let you know what it looks like.
Meant to be Rory and you, but I feel like it's going to be you and I.
I think you should maybe postpone your vacation.
It's not that I'm going anywhere. I'm here. That's what I'm saying. I can still make a trip in. I just got to make the trip in.
I think you need to talk to get Pastor Josh, your boss, and say, hey, I'm shifting this. I'm going to be gone next 2 weeks. And this week. Ready? All right. God bless. Good luck.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Catch you later.
So this is how it looks.
So we've got the internet coming into our aggregator.
Yeah, aggregator.
Yeah.
Comes directly down
Second
into
floor,
that.
we have 2 runs going.
Correct. One's not working.
We
One
have an
comes into
aggregator
here.
down here, and we have a video switch.
Yep.
The video switch one isn't working, this one is. Then Rizzy's going into both of those. So we've got Rizzy going into the video
Yes,
switch.
but we only have
except
one right
we've
now.
disconnected that at the moment,
Yeah.
so that's the one that's working.
It's going directly to aggregator.
Okay.
And then aggregator is running to the video.
That's because everything else that's in the videos. Interesting. So everything else that's in the video hub is coming into, is routing this way
Correct.
because that's down. Yeah.
To get to the internet.
Okay. But when we plug fiber in, we would see that connect, even if it was sending no traffic over it.
Correct. We should still see it
You'd see
connected.
it
Correct.
light up.
Yep. It should light up. So what I want to do right now is I want to get my NDI, my network up and going.
Yeah. Which is basically what we.
Yeah. So
So what else? What isn't? How? So rather than it being tied in,
end.
Oh, there you go.
That's how you know.
So what I need to do is I need to get okay, if I can do one or two ways, I can put this in the racks and everything goes there.
You might say
Or I can
what
work
the
with
same.
it here.
You finish a stage, you forget about it.
I can't wait when they.
That means though I would have to get this into the rack.
They still hard work even.
It's still,
You know,
yeah, one of the
I got some space here,
once
right?
you have kids,
I'll bring
you
that
never
dummy
get
switch
worried
up here.
about it. It's not like
here.
when they're
And then we
growing
connect
up,
the
you're
computer
not.
straight in here and the
The
reach.
reach of the problem becomes
They're doing all this.
Okay, so,
Oh, yeah.
so then,
So actually, we could bring that up somewhere else.
yeah, exactly.
When they listen, when you have to do that.
Yeah.
It gets to the point you cannot tell them.
Yeah.
There's a hole there.
You're done.
I was like, bring right up.
Oh,
here.
there.
I hope they do the better one.
You got it?
And I think that's what the Bible says. Train them.
Yes.
Because the Lord-
Because
Ideas never go away.
they don't because like
So you bring that up here, we can get this connected, right?
you go right there and then
We'll take that computer this way, and then we'll take
This
that
one,
computer,
this cable
we'll run
that
it,
way.
yeah, and bring it back up into here.
And also,
Now get those two computers connected to this switch here. Then downstairs, I want to get it in the AV switch.
don't try and be like,
So we still have.
So if we look at the signal path right here, this is neck here, AV switch, right? And that's in FOH blue. Right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna take the LED wall, right? And we're gonna connect it to this switch. Then what we're gonna do is we got a cable right from this switch here going to our dummy switch.
Yeah.
Dummy switch. TV. Right? And then this is media 1. And this is media 2. You want to come to this dummy switch here. This cable here is going to run to here, and it's going to run to this neck here, so it's an LED wall. And all the computers actually are all connected to this neck here switch. So we should see all of these computers, because this will also be lighting.
This will all be a .8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this will be media, the AV audio one. There's an iMac there too. We should see all those computers within that network.
Okay. And that's but none of them will have internet access. They will all go
None of
to
them will have internet
Wi-Fi
access.
for internet.
Correct. Quick correction. One problem we have here is that since we're taking the WAPs out of the network, my iPad connecting the console won't work.
Okay.
So I have to figure that out. That's a whole other thing else. But
it's down. Oh, had you changed back to the computer
Source
screen on the
let's go show you this way you know.
Yeah.
So the way this router works is you select your destination. Where do I want to go? So you hit destination. Yep. Okay, now you search for, you're going to see this is the input, this is output. So I'm looking at this right here. So I'm going to go through until I see rack TV and this one right here, rack TV. I go, okay, that's the one. Where do I want to send to it? My source, I want it to be, and then you pick the source that you want it to be. So we're looking for this iMac. Right, so we gotta find the iMac now. Where
there.
No.
So then that means I'm just trying to think what if they're all